So I want to go ahead and move to the next topic, which is an important one, as the last topic was, and that is the Supreme Court. On Monday, the Senate Judiciary Committee is scheduled to open hearings on Amy Coney Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court. Senator Harris, you'll be there as a member of the committee. Yes. Her confirmation would cement the court's conservative majority. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want Indiana to do? Would you want your home state to ban all abortions?
I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president to a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. I'm pro-life. I don't apologize for it. And this is another one of those cases where there's such a dramatic contrast. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris support taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth, late-term abortion. They want to increase funding to Planned Parenthood of America. Now, for our part, I would never presume how Judge Amy Coney Barrett would rule on the Supreme Court of the United States, but we'll continue to stand strong for the right to life. Let me say, President Trump and I could not be more enthusiastic about the opportunity to see Judge Amy Coney Barrett become Justice Amy Coney Barrett. She's a brilliant woman, and she will bring a lifetime of experience and a sizable American family to the Supreme Court of the United States. And our hope is, in the hearing next week, unlike Justice Kavanaugh received with treatment from you and others, we hope she gets a fair hearing. And we particularly hope that we don't see the kind of attacks on her Christian faith that we saw before.
I think whatever a religion is, it has its own dogma. The law is totally different. And I think in your case, Professor, the conclusion one draws is that the dogma lives loudly within you.
Senator, I know one of our judicial nominees you actually attacked because they were a member of the Catholic Knights of Columbus, just because the Knights of Columbus holds pro-life views.
Presidential candidate Senator Kamala Harris also probed, were you aware that the Knights of Columbus opposed a woman's right to choose when you joined the organization? Those questions led the Senate in January to unanimously pass Senator Ben Sasse's resolution. It says it's unconstitutional to reject a nominee because they're in the Knights of Columbus.
We all know the Knights, a noted worldwide extremist sect of Catholics that is about 2 million men strong, known among other things for their love of their Catholic faith, their unparalleled commitment to charitable work, and for hosting barbecues and pancake breakfasts. Outrageous.
Vice President
So
Pence, your
my
time
hope
is
is
up.
that when the hearing takes place,
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
that Judge Amy Coney Barrett will be respected,
Thank you,
treated
Vice President
respectfully,
Pence.
voted and confirmed
Thank
to the
you.
Supreme Court of the United States.
Senator Harris, you're the senator from and former Attorney General of California. So let me ask you a parallel question to the one I posed to the Vice President. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want California to do? Would you want your home state to enact no restrictions on access to abortion? And you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan. First of all, Joe Biden and I are both people of faith, and it's insulting to suggest that we would knock anyone for their faith.
While letting sexual predators slide, she's zealous in going after Catholic pro-lifers. Pro-life Catholic David Daleiden was first to expose Planned Parenthood's trafficking in aborted babies' body parts. While attorneys general across the country launched investigations into the abortion giant's criminal conduct, Harris indulged Planned Parenthood, one of her wealthiest backers, by launching a political prosecution not against Planned Parenthood, but against the journalist and whistleblower. Harris has also said she wants to go after the Little Sisters of the Poor, a group of nuns who fought a successful legal battle against Obama's contraception mandate. Harris has vowed to relitigate the case if given the chance. She also took steps in California to counteract the sisters' victory, sponsoring the Do No Harm Act, which would strip Catholic employers of the right to deny coverage for contraception, as well as force them to hire same-sex employees. But it was her naked religious discrimination against a judge that caused Catholic politician Newt Gingrich to say of her, "She is the most openly anti-Catholic bigot to be on a national ticket in modern times." Harris also abused her power as California AG by obstructing the sale of Catholic hospitals in exchange for $25 million in political contributions from a union. Prime sued Harris in 2017, exposing Harris's backroom deal with the union, accusing her of unconstitutional abuse of office.
And in fact, Joe, if elected, will be only the second practicing Catholic as President of the United States. On the issue of this nomination, Joe and I are very clear, as are the majority of the American people. We are 27 days before the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And, you know, before, when this conversation has come up, you know, it's been about election year or election time. We're literally in an election. Over 4 million people have voted. People are in the process of voting right now. And so Joe has been very clear, as the American people are. Let the American people fill that seat in the White House, and then we'll fill that seat on the United States Supreme Court. And to your point, Susan, the issues before us couldn't be more serious. There's the issue of choice, and I will always fight for a woman's right to make a decision about her own body. It should be her decision and not that of Donald Trump and the Vice President, Michael Pence. But let's also look at what else is before the court. It's the Affordable Care Act. Like, literally in the midst of a public health pandemic, when over 210,000 people have died and 7 million people probably have what will be in the future considered a pre-existing condition because you contracted the virus. Donald Trump is in court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. And I said it before, and it bears repeating. This means that there will be no more protections if they win for people with pre-existing conditions.
When you replace it, are you going to make sure that people with pre-conditions are still covered?
Yes.
This means that over 20 million people will lose your coverage.
We have pre-existing conditions will be taken care of 100% by Republicans and the Republican Party. I actually think it's a very important statement.
It means that if you're under the age of 26, you can't stay on your parents' coverage anymore.
Also, with the children living with their parents for an extended period,
You're going to keep
very
that.
much try and keep that. Adds cost, but it's very much something we're going to try and keep.
And here's the thing. The contrast couldn't be more clear. They're trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. Joe Biden is saying, let's expand coverage. Let's give you a choice of a public option or private coverage. Let's bring down premiums.
Thank you, Senator
Let's
Harris.
lower Medicare eligibility to 60.
Thank you, Senator.
That's true
Harris.
leadership.
When you speak about the Supreme Court, though, I think the American people really deserve an answer, Senator Harris. Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed? I mean, there have been 29 vacancies on the Supreme Court during presidential election years, from George Washington to Barack Obama. Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules.
If the president's pick is approved and Biden wins the election, should he add more Supreme Court justices?
Well, it will be a decision that comes to the Senate. We first have to win the majority before that can happen. But once we win the majority, God willing, everything is on the table.
Senator, just to follow up on that, at this time, would you consider abolishing the filibuster?
As I said, we first have to win the majority, because if we don't win the majority, these questions are all moot. But if we win the majority, everything is on the table.
So I think the American people would really like to know, if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed to the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more. In 1864...
Well, I'd like you to answer the question.
No, Mr. Vice President, I'm
Please,
speaking.
very
I'm
fast.
speaking. Okay. In 1864, one of the, I think, political heroes, certainly of the president, I assume of you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election, and it was 27 days before the election, and a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said it's not the right thing to do. The American people deserve to make the decision about who will be the next president of the United States, and then that person can select who will serve for a lifetime on the highest court of our land.
I think it's worth noting that example misses a lot of the story. So Abraham Lincoln, in 1864, 27 days before the election, Chief Justice Roger Taney passed away. Senator Klobuchar and Senator Harris before her both pointed out the fact that Abraham Lincoln did not make a nomination in those 27 days. What both of them omitted was that the Senate wasn't here. The Senate had left. They were gone, and the Senate would not return until December. So there was no Senate physically present to confirm that nominee. When the Senate did return in December, Abraham Lincoln nominated in December a justice to fill that seat, Salmon Chase, which the Senate confirmed the next day. But to suggest that that is somehow a precedent and that requires us not to fill this vacancy now is, well, I actually can't put it better than the Washington Post, who fact-checked Senator Harris on this claim. And the Washington Post, not exactly a right-wing bastion, the Washington Post conclusion was that Senator Harris's argument, quote, wasn't exactly true. I recognize that our Democratic friends wish there was a Democratic majority in the Senate, but the voters decided otherwise, and so this committee moving forward is consistent with over 200 years of history and precedent.
And so Joe and I are very clear. The American people are voting right now, and it should be their decision about who will serve on this most important body for a lifetime.
Thank you,
And
Senator
the
Harris.
people, Susan, are voting right now. They'd like to know if you and Joe Biden are going to pack the Supreme Court if you don't get your way in this nomination.
Let's talk about packing.
You once again gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a non-answer.
Trying to answer you
the
now.
American people deserve a straight answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court if they somehow win this election.
Everything is on the table.
Men and
Mr.
women,
Vice President,
I got to
I
tell you,
think
people across this country, if you cherish our Supreme Court, if you cherish the separation of powers, you need to reject the Biden-Harris ticket. Come November the 3rd, re-elect President Donald Trump, and we'll stand by that separation of powers in a 9-seat Supreme Court.
Yeah, let's talk about packing the court then. Let's talk about the
Please.
fact. Yeah, I'm about to. So the Trump-Pence administration has been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Susan, as you mentioned, and I've witnessed the appointments for lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal. People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal professional organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not one is black? This is what they've been doing. You want to talk about packing a court? Let's have that discussion.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Senator. Let's go on and talk about the issue of racial justice.
I just want the record to reflect she never answered the question.
And white supremacists.
I totally disavow the Ku Klux Klan. I totally disavow David Duke. I've been doing it now for 2 weeks. You're probably about the 18th person that's asked me the question.
Unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community.